What if the worst week of your life was actually the beginning of it? What if everything you thought you needed, the job, the title, the relationship, the image, was never actually yours to begin with? What if losing it all was the only way to finally find yourself? This is the story of a man named Daniel, a man who had everything the world told him to want, and then, in just 7 days, lost all of it, every single thing. And years later, sitting in a quiet room with nothing but time, called it the best thing that ever happened to him. This is that story.
Daniel was 31 years old, and by every measure that the world uses, he was winning. He had a job at a company that impressed people at dinner parties, a title that made his parents proud, a relationship that looked perfect in photographs, an apartment in the right part of the city, friends who laughed at his jokes. He had built everything carefully, brick by brick, year by year. Not because he loved any of it deeply, but because he was terrified of what people would think if he didn't. Daniel had spent his entire adult life building a version of himself that the world would approve of, and it had worked. People approved. But somewhere underneath all of it, underneath the title and the apartment and the photographs, Daniel felt nothing. Not pain exactly, just nothing. Like a house that looks beautiful from the outside, but has no one living inside it. And then came the week. It started on a Monday. His company restructured. His position was eliminated, just like that. 10 years of his life gone by Friday afternoon. He drove home in silence, told himself it was fine. He would find something else. He always figured things out. But when he walked through his apartment door, his partner was waiting. She had been waiting for a long time, she said. Not just that evening, for years. She had been waiting for him to actually show up, not just physically, but truly show up, with his real feelings, his real fears, his real self. And he never had, so she was done waiting. By Wednesday, the apartment was half empty. Daniel sat on the floor of his living room surrounded by the things she had left behind, things that had always been his but never felt like his, and he laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because he didn't know what else to do. By Thursday, he called his closest friend, but the conversation was short and uncomfortable because Daniel realized, in the silence between his words, that this friendship had always been built on who Daniel pretended to be, and that person was gone now. By Friday evening, Daniel was sitting alone in his apartment. No job, no partner, no carefully constructed identity, just him, for the first time in his entire adult life. Just him. That Friday night, he couldn't sleep. He got up at 3 in the morning and sat by the window. The city was quiet, just streetlights and the occasional passing car. And in that silence, Daniel did something he hadn't done since he was a child. He just sat. No phone, no planning, no fixing, just sat with himself. And after a long time, maybe an hour, maybe 2, a thought arrived. Not loudly, almost like a whisper from somewhere very deep. It said, "You have been performing your entire life, and now the stage is empty, and the audience has gone home, and there is no one left to perform for. So who are you? Actually, who are you?" Daniel sat with that question for the rest of the night, and for the first time in 10 years, he didn't try to answer it quickly. He just let it sit there, honest and open and terrifying. And somehow, that felt more real than anything he had felt in a decade. In the weeks that followed, Daniel did something unusual. He stopped rebuilding. Everyone around him expected him to rebuild immediately, update the resume, get back out there, move on.
But Daniel didn't. Not yet. Instead, he sat with the emptiness. He took long walks with no destination. He cooked simple meals slowly. He read books he had always meant to read. He sat by that same window every morning with a cup of coffee and no agenda. And slowly, things began to surface. Memories he had buried, desires he had dismissed, a version of himself he had abandoned somewhere around age 22 when the pressure to be impressive had become louder than the voice inside him. He remembered that he had always wanted to write, not for anyone, just for himself. Words had always felt like home. He remembered that he had always loved the sea, not to post photographs of it, just to sit beside it and breathe. He remembered that he had always craved simple, honest, quiet connection, not the loud, crowded kind he had been performing in for the last decade. None of these things were impressive. None of them would make anyone at a dinner party lean forward, but they were his, actually, genuinely, deeply his, and that, for the first time, felt like enough. Here is what Daniel understood on the other side of the worst week of his life. We spend so much time building lives that look right that we forget to check whether they feel right. We collect titles and relationships and apartments like proof. Proof that we are worthy, proof that we are enough, proof that we have figured it out. But proof for whom? The world does not actually care about you as deeply as you fear it does. People are too busy managing their own fear to spend much time judging yours. And the life you built for their approval, the carefully constructed, perfectly presented, exhausting performance of a life, it was never really yours. Losing it is not a tragedy, it is an invitation. An invitation to stop performing and start living. To stop building for the audience and start building for yourself. Daniel lost his job, his relationship, his identity, and in losing all of it, he found the only thing that actually mattered, himself. The real one, the quiet one, the one that had been waiting patiently underneath all the performance for someone to finally come home.
Maybe you haven't lost everything. Maybe everything still looks fine from the outside, but maybe, somewhere inside, you already know. You already know that the life you are living is not entirely yours, that there is a version of you underneath the performance that you haven't visited in a long time. That version is not gone. It is just waiting, quietly, patiently, without judgment. You don't have to wait for everything to collapse to finally go back to yourself. You can choose it now, today, in the smallest way. One honest thought, one real conversation, one quiet morning by the window with nothing but yourself and the truth. That is enough. That is the beginning. And sometimes, the beginning is the best thing that ever happened to you. If this story touched something real inside you, like, share, and subscribe to The Golden Ache, because someone you know is performing a life they never chose, and this story might be exactly what they need today.